Hi, it's me, Julie Kim. We are now a video podcast, as you can see. I hope you enjoy the new episodes. Please like, subscribe, follow. There's one other thing I forget. Anyways, thanks a lot. Hello, it's me, Julie Kim. Welcome to Bothered, my little podcast about being bothered. Every week I share short stories.
Living like this, I might lose it.
They're mostly real situations that have happened to me. You wouldn't believe some of them, or maybe you would. Maybe you can relate.
Living like this, I might lose it.
So I have a daughter. She's an only child, and my husband and I always send her to camps to learn things, but mostly to socialize so she doesn't end up weird. I said what I said. So every professional development day, every holiday, every spring, winter, and summer camp, we send her somewhere, and invariably she'll make a friend, which is a wonderful thing unless she takes it really far and wants to bring this friend outside of the camp world into our actual real life world. This has worked out successfully 0% of the time. So this is a story about one of these times. We had sent our daughter to learn tennis for the week. And on one of the days, I went to pick her up. And I saw her running across the field to me, which is always like such a nice feeling because I know one day that's not going to happen anymore. So she came running towards me really, really quickly with another child next to her. And from far, I swear to God, I thought it was a raccoon. Like the kid didn't have brushed hair, which is fine. I'm just saying that from far, I thought my daughter was being chased by an animal. My child has the propensity to befriend sometimes one of the weirder kids in the camp, which probably is just telling me that I also have a weird child, which also is okay. So she and this other kind of feral looking kid run towards me, and they say the words that some of us parents dread. They said, "Can we have a play date?" And I realized that the other kid was also looking at this man who was standing next to me. And this man and I did what a lot of parents do when their kid and another kid asks if they want to have a play date, and they pretend they don't hear it, like all together. And it does work a lot of the time. Yes, it's true. We gaslight our children because we think maybe they won't ask a second time, which is very, very foolish. Because if you have kids, you know that your kid has the capacity to ask you a question like 100 times in a row. It is a lot of parents' worst nightmares to be confronted by their own child and a new child in the picture asking for a play date. I don't know who this kid is. I don't know who the kid's parents are. It could be just our luck and the parents are weird, and then we have to do a play date and like have horrible conversation. I mean, they're probably not having a good time either because we have to put on our very innocuous parent personalities in front of other parents that we don't know very well. Okay, we can't be our complete selves. This is why it's a very smart move to have kids at the same time as your family members or your friends, so you don't really have to make new friends if you don't want to. And I'm not saying that it's bad to make new friends. I have met a lot of nice people, but the number of people that I've met since I've had a kid that I've liked is very, very small in proportion to the overall number of people I've met since becoming a parent. And this is the same, I think, for everyone. It's not just me saying I'm better or more interesting or snobby than anyone else. This is generally how a lot of parents feel. So when you get confronted by your child, which I think is really inconsiderate of the child, to just put you on the spot in front of strangers to say, "Can we have a play date?" Because the answer, if I have my way, is no, but I can't say no right away. I have to like pretend I didn't hear. And that's what me and this dad did, because there is an unspoken rule, an understanding between two parents that don't know each other to just give it a pause in case the children forget. And hopefully they forget or they get distracted or move on to something else. Children's memories are very, very short and they're easily distractible. Very small brains. It's convenient some of the time. Very inconvenient a lot of the time. Anyways, so they kept asking. And finally, I turned to this man that I didn't know. And I said, oh, it looks like they want a play date. Should we exchange information? And he said, yeah, okay, sure. I'll give you my wife's number. And I paused for a second, and he said, because I'm very busy. And I said, oh, yeah, I get it. I'm also very busy. And I am busy, everybody. Sorry for yelling. I am busy. I travel so much. In the next 3 weeks, I'm going to 5 different cities. I just make the time, and I don't just say, here's my husband's number. Nobody would be having it anyways. Anyways, my actual reaction was to say, yes, I understand. I'm very busy too. And he said, I'm a surgeon. Fuck. And then he said, what do you do? And I composed myself and I said, I'm a comedian. And he got surprisingly excited. And he explained to me that he organizes the hospital fundraiser, which they have every year. It's a very fancy event. They have amazing food, catered at a beautiful hotel, black tie. They raised $10 million last year. And he said that they were looking for a comedian to volunteer their time. And he said, in kind of a patronizing way, maybe it would be good for exposure. He was assuming that I am not a successful comedian and that I need exposure. And I do like exposure. I mean, me doing this podcast right now, me doing this promo for this podcast is for exposure, I guess. But like, that was just one part of why I was offended and bothered by this. I mean, could you imagine asking this man to do a surgery for free? Maybe it would be good for exposure. Why don't you take this easy case and then you can get some additional good ratings on Rate My MD. I'm going to look him up. I bet he sucks. For bedside manner, of course, because he was not good at what do you call it? Campside manner. His campside manner was very bad. I can't imagine that he has good bedside manner. God. Anyways, and at that point he said, maybe you should give me your contact information. And I said, sure. Yes, sure. Here's my agent's wife's number. I did say that. This situation bothered me for a whole host of reasons. One of them is that he assumed that I'm not a successful comedian, that I still work for exposure. And again, sometimes I do, but it depends on the exposure. But by and large, I like to get paid because I'm a human being and somebody who has worked on her art for a very long time. I don't have to defend myself here. The other thing is that I don't know if his wife is also a surgeon, but I would bet that she is also a busy person and has probably not consented to being like the default and just being like the recipient of these text messages and calls from these people who he's given out her number to. He said it like he was like, oh yes, get in contact with my assistant. I think it was that I really didn't like. And I didn't like the host of feelings that it brought up from so many stories, including my own and those of my friends, where we have to do a lot more of the organizing and the planning and taking on overall most of the fucking mental load for no other reason than that we will do it. And in some cases, I guess we're better at organizing and planning, but that's probably because we have so much practice because we have to take care of our children and everything else in the household, even though we work very much, so much that we are a successful comedian and don't need to work for exposure. Okay, I have to get off of this. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I don't like this tasking of women. And it happened when I worked in corporate also. I would get asked a lot of the times to take notes, like on the spot. And no male associate or consultant would be asked to just take notes, like as in meeting minutes. And I have to say it, I would do it. I used to just do it so that I would be a team player and show people that, you know, I'm rolling up my sleeves and really contributing when I should have done what most of the other young males were doing and just say, oh, I don't do that. I don't take notes. I don't know if I would have been allowed to say that, but I should have fucking said that. I will never take notes again in my whole life, okay? Anyways, I gotta check my notes. I make my own notes. One second. My husband recently told me that he pulled this move, but he pulled this move for a different reason. He was at a dance class, and one of the moms had come up to him and said that the children had decided during dance class that they wanted to take horseback riding lessons together. This was news to my husband, who is not a social person. I would say that his social battery is low to dead and doesn't charge that much. And that's okay. I mostly accept who he is, except like I get a little resentful when I have to compensate for it, right? Like what he told this woman when she said we should exchange information was he darted his eyes and he said, "Oh, my wife books the camps." And then he just, his voice trailed off and he pretended that he saw something else and left. And I resent that because now there's a woman out there thinking that my daughter comes from a family where the mother is the only person who organizes anything social or child care related. And that is not true. And in this case, it was just that my husband was avoiding a conversation. He could have said other things, but that's what he did. He also has done this in the past, and I know other dads that have done this, where, look, when your kid is little, you're invited to birthday parties, and it is a blessing to be invited to a birthday party, and especially for your kid to enjoy time with their friends outside of the school or daycare setting. So many times my kid has been invited to a party. And when your kids are small, it is understood that the parent stays there. You don't get a drop-off party, which are godsends, actually, until the kid is a little bit older. We were not yet at that stage, so it was understood that a parent or parents would go. And in our circle, a lot of times, both parents went, and we tried to make a social thing out of it. Every freaking time we had a party, if it wasn't one of our friends, my husband tried to weasel out of it. He would pretend to be sick or like that he had diarrhea or just that he didn't have the capacity to go. And look, it's not that I don't have sympathy for somebody who's an introvert, but it's not fair. I'm not fucking doing it, okay? I don't always want to hang out with other people too. You know what he said one time? He just said, "Oh, can you do that one alone? Because I don't want to." And I was like, I don't fucking want to. I haven't wanted to go to any of these 10 parties that we've gone to this year, but I've gone for our child. You think I have been enjoying this? You think I enjoy having someone say, "So how did you get started in comedy? Where do you get your inspiration?" I fucking hate it. I hate small talk. I hate pretending to enjoy being there. I hate watching anybody open a present. I don't like watching kids play. I think it's very, very boring. I will do it for my own child. I don't want to watch 10 children playing. It's so... And children are a blessing. I will say one other thing. I've been hearing a lot in the news about this thing called the male loneliness epidemic. And a lot of people are calling bullshit, saying, well, they should just learn, or it's not a real epidemic. Like, if they really wanted to, they could be social or whatever. But I have seen my husband and lots of other grown-ass men not be able to make friends. And when I say not be able to, I believe that a lot of things are a choice. I know it's hard. We live in Vancouver where a lot of people are weird and they don't, the Vancouver and Seattle are both known to be like not friendly places where it's difficult to meet people. Some people blame the rain, etc. I blame people's personalities, honestly. I do think it's hard to meet people, especially as you grow up. You're an adult, you have kids, you don't have a lot of time. Even in the first few years when you have a kid, it's like, what's your hobby? Oh, I stay home with my child like a lot of the time. But I do believe in the male loneliness epidemic to an extent. I do believe that a lot of men are not comfortable getting out of their comfort zones. I know so many men who haven't made a new friend since high school or college, and that it's great to have a friend for that long, but it's also really great to make new friends. I make a new friend like every 2 months. And the ones that stick are the ones that'll like work beside me and do errands with me and stuff like that. And are, but you just make it work. Cause I know, like a lot of women know, that it is necessary to have social interaction. It is what keeps us healthy and happy. It's one of the reasons why women live longer than men. If men had more socialization and went to the doctor more and other things, they would live longer. But God, I hope my husband dies earlier, because then I wouldn't have to fucking pry him out of the home to talk to people and be a normal functioning human being. He has one social interaction a weekend. Beyond that, he's not going to do it. Doesn't matter if it's his family or people he likes. He can't do it. He can't do it. So back to that story. I did take the wife's number. I did not call her, because that interaction actually really turned me off. And it turned me off of wanting to be in the same circle as those people. I'm sorry, but my daughter could have had a really good friend in that little girl that she enjoyed so much, but I didn't want to know her dad. And fuck that guy. I'm not working for exposure. But I do corporate gigs, everybody. And if you want to check me out, it's at juliekimcomedy.com/corporate. That's actually an unlisted site, because I don't have time for a whole bunch of corporates, but it's really fun. Anyways, this is now turning into a long plug. This little interaction was very troublesome to me. Again, he talked about his wife like she was his assistant. He was giving me his wife's number. Ooh, you're a woman. I'll give you my wife's number. She's also a woman. I wonder if he would have done that to another dad. Maybe not. And it also bothered me that he assumed, I'm saying this again. It also bothered me that he assumed that I was not successful enough as a comedian to work for pay, and that I should do it for exposure. Do you think he does anything for exposure? Fuck this guy. I hate this guy. What was the best thing about this interaction? A new joke. I love a new joke. Thank you for the inspiration. Important surgeon man who can't plan or coordinate a kid's play date, for fuck's sake. Anyways, I have a new joke. It's on socials. Check it out. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. We are growing as a podcast, so thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, share, and follow. I've got a bunch of tour dates coming up. I'm going to read from my website now. April 23rd at the Punchline in San Francisco, California. May 6th, Salt Spring Island, Canada. May 10th at the Capitol Ballroom, Victoria, BC, Canada. May 15th at Yuck Yucks in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And then on May 24th, big show at the Vogue Theatre in Vancouver, BC, you got it, Canada. Then I've got a bunch of US dates. June 6th, Ice House in Pasadena. June 19th, West Nyack Lovely Live in West Nyack, New York. Ooh, and then I'm in New York City at the West Side Comedy Club on June 21st, and then September 18th in Philadelphia for the first time at Helium. I hope you can come. Thank you so much again, and have a great week. Bye.
Living like this, I might lose it. Living like this, I might lose it.